it was amazing to me that I could feel as good as I did after having so many years of being in misery. And I was anxious to get back to doing something.
So where then did the idea for Challenge 200 come from?
In the month of January of this year, I started thinking about what else can I do? I needed a goal. I needed something. And it couldn't just be to go downstairs and work out in my gym. I had to do something else. So I came up with this thought and I said, oh, how about traversing the golf course, but do it in speed golf? Now, I've never done speed golf, although I've walked the course. I used to walk the course, but I've never done speed golf, which means you got to get through the golf course in a specified amount of time. I picked 100 minutes. Why did I pick 100 minutes? Because that number sounded good and it sounded halfway reasonable. Now I'm realizing it's a stretch. But so that was 100. And then I said, I want to break 100. Now, if I'm playing a normal round of golf, I break 100 most every time I play. My handicap's a 16. But with only 5 golf clubs in speed golf, that's all I'm going to be carrying, and running in no golf carts, running through the course, all of a sudden that became the goal. 100 minutes, score below 100. That's how we developed Challenge 200.
Would you be able to explain speed golf versus regular golf for us?
Well, the big thing, as I already mentioned, the big thing is you're not in a cart and you're trying to get through the course as fast as you can. Most speed golfers would never carry 14 golf clubs. You carry a minimal amount of golf clubs so that you can get through the course as fast as you possibly can. The other thing, when you're in golf, you take your time. Normal round of golf takes roughly 4 hours, sometimes even maybe 4.5 hours. Speed golf, I'm going to finish my round in 100 minutes. That's an hour and 40 minutes without a golf cart. So speed golf is a much different effort. It's both a combination of being able to get through, in this case, a 5, almost 6 mile course through hills, because that's what St. Ives is, full of hills, only use 5 golf clubs and score below 100.
Now, when you came up with this idea for Challenge 200, what did your wife, Michelle, say?
Michelle's my biggest supporter, but I have to admit, when she first heard me talk about this Challenge 200, she said, Greg, why are you doing this? I mean, Greg, that's a lot. And I felt that it was something I really needed to do. So Michelle, as discerning as she is, she got behind me, which she is, but she also said, Greg, you need to understand something. This can't just be about you. This can't just be all about Greggy J. What it's really got to do is how can you take this Challenge 200 and turn it into something that is going to help inspire others. And so that's where all of this is coming from. I want people to know why we're doing this, and hopefully it touches someone, maybe just one person, that says, Greggy J, Greg, whatever, if you can do this, then I can do something too. Maybe not speed golf, maybe not Challenge 200, but you know what? You inspire to stretch yourself to do something more than what you thought you could do before. I encourage people to do that.
Now, I know you set very big training goals that need to be achieved before you're ready for Challenge 200, which starts on July 6th, but what was your starting point?
Starting point was on February 29th. That was the day that I did the first day of quote unquote training. And on February 29th, I wrote out all these goals, which include a bunch of things we won't go through now. But I got on my treadmill in my gym, and I went for a 15-minute walk on my treadmill at a very modest, easy pace. Then I got off the treadmill, got onto my elliptical, went 15 minutes at a very modest level. That was February 29th. And I have to say, that's all I could do. Steady. I mean, 15 minutes on one, 15 minutes on the other, and that was it. I was done. Well, that isn't going to cut it, because Now, by June 23rd, 2 weeks before the actual Challenge 200, I have to do a whole lot of things, including I've got to walk and run through the hills of St. Ives and around St. Ives, a 10-mile course in under 3 hours. Well, I've already accomplished 9 miles in under 2 hours and 25 minutes, so I think I can make it. But I have to tell you, I was so sore after that 9 miles, I know I've got a lot of training yet to do. Plus the fact that I know I'm going to have to jog probably 54 different times during the Challenge 200. There's 18 holes, so I'm figuring 18 times 2. I'll have to jog twice per hole. And then 18 holes. One jog to get from the tee box or from the green to the tee box. So part of my training includes getting on my treadmill and doing a minute walk, minute run, minute walk, minute run, minute walk, minute run. Well, I've got to be able to do that 54 consecutive times, 108 minutes. Right now, I'm up to 45. So compared to where it was on just the 29th of February to now, and again, I commend Par for Success Training, their exercise routine, my coach, everything we're doing so that I can discipline myself to get through that.
Now, the big question is why? I mean, you've explained how you got to this point and the physical improvements you've experienced, but there has to be more to it.
Well, I alluded to it a little bit before when I got talking about, when you asked me the question, where was Michelle at when I got this thing started? But big question why is that I do not want to live in my 70s simply to get to my 80s and die. I look back on my 20s, 30s, and 40s, and some of you watching this are in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Greg, I'll get there. And I used to be the same way. When I was 40 years old, I didn't think about being 70. And if I did think about being 70, I wasn't worried about being 70 because I'm 40 and I'm in good shape. But you know what? What I've realized is that the age comes upon us faster than we think it will. At least for me, it did. And so now I'm 70. I cannot do or accomplish all the things that I did when I was 40 years old. So why? Because it's there to be done. And I am refusing to live this decade or even the next decade of my life simply to die in the next decade. The other reason is what I've already alluded to. How can I inspire someone else, even if it's just one other person, to say, I am going to live on? I know people who are in their 70s and in their 80s who are amazing to me. They're my inspiration because of the way they've conducted their life. I want to be able to share that and hopefully inspire someone else's.
What's next for you?
Well, first thing is, let's get through Challenge 200. I want to get through Challenge 200. I got all this training that's remaining to do. All the big goals, the 10-mile loop, the 54, what I call one-on-ones, the hill training, which is by far the hardest part. I got to get through all of that by June the 23rd, because then I'll do a taper and get ready for July 6th. What happens after that? I'm hoping to make Challenge 200 something bigger than me. We'll take that step after July 6th.